The Signs of the Times. Formed by Elder Gilbert Beebe as editor and dedicated exclusively to the Old School Baptist cause. The paper, based out of New Vernon, New York, became a beacon and a crucible for the division that took place among particular Baptists in the early 19th century. On June 15, 1858, Beebe wrote, "Chartered companies with titled officers for evangelizing the world, together with numerous financiering agencies for collecting and dispersing funds, for the professed object of sustaining that kingdom which is not of this world, and that gospel which is without money and without price, have been too numerous to attract any unusual attention. But the stock jobbing enterprise of the American Systematic Beneficence Society proposes to divide the throne of the eternal God into 6-penny shares and sell the mansions of immortal glory for filthy lucre. Were any organized company of men to practice such frauds in regard to any earthly territory that does not belong to them, they would, on conviction of their rascality, be lodged in our state prisons. But the fraud of thus swindling the unsuspecting and credulous Sunday school victims of their toy money, mean and unjustifiable as it is, sinks to insignificance when compared with the bold, unblushing blasphemy of offering the throne of Jehovah for sale. God, who occupies that high and exalted seat, has said, 'Heaven is my throne.' And this band of pious swindlers advertise that heaven's for sale. And to crown the climax of their effrontery, they forged the endorsement of him who overturned the tables of the money changers and scourged all manner of religious traffickers from his temple, and forbid peremptorily that his father's house should be made a place of merchandise or occupied as a den of thieves." On March 1st, 1840, Beebe again wrote, "Instead of praise, they tell of the widow and the fatherless who have been visited by their horse-leech agents and robbed of their earthly substance under the pretense of replenishing the exhausted treasury of the Lord. And in the hollow tone of one of their commissioned gentlemen beggars, who took from a wretched and starving family in a new settlement in the interior of Pennsylvania their last cow, and boasted on the floor of the Philadelphia Association, after committing the horrid deed, that it was the main dependence of a large and helpless family. This is no fiction. This is the result of benevolent efforts, awful perversion of language, and for which the writer calls for praise. Does he not glory in his shame? On Gilbert Beebe's death, at 10 minutes before 4 o'clock p.m. on May 2nd, 1881, Elder Gilbert Beebe received his discharge and was called home to receive the crown laid up for those who have fought the good fight. The cause of death was apoplexy, from which he suffered but a few hours. He arose in the morning of the day he died, dressed himself, and ate his breakfast, apparently in his usual health. But when he got up from the table, complained of a headache, and being advised to lie down, he returned to his room and laid down, and soon fell asleep, and remained so until about 11:30, when he got up and stood up on his bed and exclaimed, "Oh, I can't stand it! I can't stand it!" He was assisted back on the bed, and his head bathed with liniment, when he said, "Be careful and not get it in my eye." These were his last coherent words, for he immediately passed into a comatose state from which he never revived. He dies with but a slight struggle and sensed no pain. For those interested in old school Baptist history and American Baptist history in general, this is a priceless treasure of information, inspiration, and doctrine.